You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. WOOP FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Where'd the old town go? They moved it all north of here, near the shopping mall.
Good morning and welcome to Old Town Cleveland here on WOOP FM 99.9, or you can go to the internet at www.woopfm.com. You can call us here at 614-5553. And Deb, good morning.
Oh my. It's going to be an interesting day, folks.
Is it going to be one of those?
It's going to be one of those help me days.
Tell us about first before we go on. I want to say condolences to a family, a good friend of mine. I went to Oak Grove Elementary and went to Black Fox with him. Then we played in the band Chain. Mike Sopp, Tommy Hood, Steve Gregg, myself, and Tommy Clore. Tommy Clore passed away yesterday from cancer, and we just say condolences to his family.
Condolences to his family.
I grew up with him and all of his redheaded sisters. They had the reddest hair I ever remember, but I can't remember any of their names now, but
Carolyn, I think.
Carolyn is right, yeah. And just I want to say condolences to that family. And Tommy was always a good friend.
I want to, before we get started here, we've got some friends that are having a yard sale over at 1222 Brookfield Court Northeast. The way to get there is go up on North Lee Highway and turn off on Weeks Drive, and it's almost all the way over to 20th Street. They're having a bunch of families in the neighborhoods having a big sale today, and we'll hope to go by. And our good friends down at the Rebel, Ron, they're going to start for the very first time ever being open on Sundays. And they're going to open at 7 a.m. for breakfast, and if you bring your church bulletin by and have lunch there, you get a bit of a discount of some sort or another. But we hope that you guys will support the Rebel with them being open. They're trying some different things, and go by and support them.
Every once in a while in life, you just got to have a Lottaburger, don't you?
That's right.
I mean, just got to
go
down there
with that special sauce.
All right.
And the Cleveland Arts Guild is open today, and it's down at 5 Points. And if you guys listened to Carolyn Ross Johnson last week, we were down there doing a book signing on Saturday afternoon, and you can still get our products down there. I was over in Cherokee, North Carolina with her yesterday, and she sold a ton of books over there, and we had a great time and learned a lot too. We have in the studio today, y'all just get ready for this. We have Charlie McKenzie, Jerry Frazier, and Randy Fox.
Or better known as the Three Amigos.
Yeah, that's right. Ron, tell us a little bit about our show today, what we're planning to do.
Well, today we're going to constantly ask us, do you know where so-and-so is? So that's our show today. Where are they now? And there's some people we know where they are right now, and we're going to try to talk to some of them. And but what we want you to do, the callers, to call in and to us and say, well, this was my teacher, this was my coworker, this was someone. Now, we don't do debt collection, so don't do that. And if you've got a lost girlfriend or boyfriend. We probably, particularly if you're still married, we will not
find them on
them.
Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. But and these three guys just know a lot about Cleveland, and if when you call in and ask somebody, if we don't know where they are, maybe the next caller will. So hopefully we get a lot of calls today and just do that. And I'm gonna start with the very.
Let me start.
Okay, you go ahead.
We saw someone the other day, Jerry Frazier, that I'm sure that you know, and we had no idea. What had become of her. We saw Mrs. Cartwright from Black Fox School
Ruth?
Ruth Cartwright. And what was so funny is that she recognized Ron before Ron could remember who she was. And she's well into her 90s. And
Now, Johnny, her husband, was the principal
at Black Fox School. And was she a teacher or the secretary there?
She taught at
first grade, maybe?
she taught at Black Fox and later, I think, at East Cleveland.
But it was just so delightful to see her. And I know that she had taught Ron's sister there at Black Fox. And she had a lot of memories of that. But she said, let me say a Bible verse for you. And it must have been 10 lines long. That from memory, that her memory is still so good.
Well, I got to go. I went to Oak Grove for 7 years. Went to Black Fox my 8th grade before we had the junior high system, and our middle schools, whatever we call them now. But so I had Johnny Cartwright, and my grandmother was a Cartwright. And so we were related. I never knew how we were related to Johnny, everything, and so he claimed me a little bit, and and she was just always so nice. And she lives in the same place where Johnny and them lived, and so still here in Cleveland.
I'm sure she still has the trailer park down there near their house, and if you think it's not a small world, her grandson Gabe is now a manager for my younger brother at the University of Tennessee.
My goodness!
Wow.
But anyway, it was very nice to see her. Talking to the microphone.
She taught at Blythe Avenue, I believe, in 55.
Taught at Blythe Avenue in 55. Okay.
Yeah.
But she's taught hundreds of children, hundreds of people in Bradley County, and we were just so glad to see her doing well. And her daughter teaches down at Waterville.
Okay, now here's a name that I've thought of, and I don't know where they are now, but there's some people named Naren. One of them was George, and I can't think of his sister's name, who was a great basketball player down at Bradley. Do you know where those folks are?
Well, Sally passed away. But she was
How
a
long's
tremendous basketball. Played in the Pan Am Games.
Yeah.
She was
How
an
long
awesome
was that been
athlete.
since she's passed away?
Three years maybe.
Okay.
That would be a good guess.
You know,
and of course, her George, Dr. Nairn, is now head of the graduate program, or I say head, is involved in the graduate programs of education at Lee.
Oh, I didn't know he was
Had
back in
cataract
town.
surgery this week. He's
Oh,
just
I didn't
he's
know
back
that.
here and doing well.
And we got to say that Mrs. Coates, Sylvia Coates, is having some heart surgery, and just a great lady. Come here on the show and just what information. And the only bad thing is that husband of hers, that Yankee that she married, but one of my favorite Yankees, I have to admit, though.
I'm sure Ed is hoping she comes through that surgery well, because she takes good care of him. I don't know what he'd do if he lost Sylvia.
Yeah,
She'll be fine. She'll be fine. but
And
she's-
where are their boys at now? I mean, what's their Tanner and, gosh, what's the other one?
Eddie.
Eddie, right?
One of them is a teacher coach at Lake Forest, I believe, and I don't know where the other one is. Do you know?
They're both still in town.
But see, here you are. I watch those kids play basketball, great basketball, tennis players, and all that, and you just don't know where they are. I mean, Bradley County's got such a big place now. It used to be small enough to know to have a scandal, but big enough to have a scandal, small enough to know everybody involved in it. It's getting out.
That's
get
true.
out. So, do you have anybody that you think about?
Well, when I first walked in the studio today, we were talking about I'm trying right now to help the class of '74, which Deb was a member of. Try to find some of they're going to have a 40th reunion
Right.
next fall, and they asked me to help them, and I'm trying to do that.
when I was in school, I was younger than all those folks, but they don't seem to remember that now.
But when I walked in the studio, one you asked me about was David Dowdy.
Mm-hmm.
And David was assistant principal, of course, during that time, and he's back here now. He
Good.
spent quite a few years in Sevier County in Virginia, but now he's back here and just recently moved not real long ago out on the river. And I see him. He attends First Baptist most Sundays. I still see him regularly.
David became vice principal while I was at Bradley. I got there with Miss Clemmer, which I know Randy knows very well. Miss Clemmer retired, I think, my sophomore year, about 70, I guess, 1970, and our the 68, 69 season, her year was her last year, and then Mr. Dowdy came in. So,
If he wasn't an Alabama fan, he'd be all right.
yeah, that's right, and good guy. And Randy, you got anybody you wonder where they are now? or anybody you want to report on where they are now?
Well, I had a guy call me a couple weeks ago. Of course, he's called me twice in the last month or so. He went to, some of you people might remember him from our junior high school days. His name was Billy Stamps, living out in Malibu, California. Now, his dad used to be the radio announcer at WCLE years ago.
He sent me some pictures of his dad, and I posted them on Facebook, some late pictures of his dad.
I think I got a picture of him in a raincoat or something standing
he's-
outside
yeah.
a car there. Billy Stamps. I'd heard that name. Charlie, what about you? You want to know where everybody is? Now, we're not doing bill collecting day.
I can't think of my own name half the time anymore. But if people call in, ask us some names, maybe we can help them.
What about Sam Tolbert? Used to be the mayor.
Sam was the mayor for a number of years,
Yes.
and he left here and moved to be where his children were. I want to think Mississippi, but I lost track.
Yeah.
But I think he
Dale
passed-
Hughes would know the answer to
Did he
that
pass away?
question. They were neighbors and really close friends.
So that's good. Well, we'll just hopefully we'll get some calls here in just a minute, and we'll see if you know where anyone is. It just I think we're going to try to get a hold of Bill Talley, right? That's the person that I know most of you people will remember. That Bill Talley was an amazing individual, you know, and you know, he had birth, you know, he was born without his arms and legs. Is that correct?
Bill was an amazing person. He had the most beautiful handwriting of anybody in his class, and what an inspiration and a great coach and motivator. And of course, Steve Sloan took him to Texas when he became the head coach at Texas Tech, and Bill got married while he was out there and just stayed. He comes home to visit occasionally, but I don't think he gets in very much.
That's good. And you know, another name from a guy that graduated between Deb and I in '73, a little short guy named Alvin Scott. And you know, most Alvin Scott's family's here, I think now. So Gloria's not here.
We had Scott Day when I was assistant principal at Bradley, and we could never get him in. But on the occasion when Alvin was retiring from the Phoenix Suns, we had Scott Day. And we had all four of them, and of course Terry is in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
He is a school administrator there after being a coach for a number of years, and Levi is in town, and I don't know if he's retired from the fire department. I think he retired from the fire department. And
Well, I heard Levi's doing a little preaching now.
He does. He's very active in his church. Gloria lives in Knoxville, worked for TVA for a number of years. And then, of course, Alvin, after he retired, worked for the Suns for a while, and then also worked for one of the utility companies in Phoenix, and he's remained there.
Good morning, you live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning, Ron. How you doing?
Hey, Bullet.
Man, you have got a pair there with you, that Randy Fox. I knew him back in the 60s. I ain't going to go into that right now, but he's a good old boy.
Talk about you, Randy.
And Jerry. And, anyway, I had a football idol when I was growing up, and this is an easy question for you. Where's Steve Sloan, and what is he doing now?
Back in Florida, isn't he?
Steve's retired. He plays a lot of golf and does a lot of volunteer work with Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Here, normally he comes in every fall and has a Fellowship of Christian Athletes tournament to benefit the local chapter, and this year he wasn't able to make it because his wife Brenda, who's also a Bradley graduate, had some sickness. But he lives in the Orlando area. I'm not sure exactly where. His closest friend in town is probably Steve Gibson.
Well, just let me know if he ever comes back to Cleveland. I want to talk to him about my cousin. Him and my cousin used to run around together and bring back some memories to him. And can I bring up somebody, one more?
Sure.
There's a guy I used to play with at Arnold, and I don't ever hear his name anymore. Does anybody know where Joe Hardwick is now? What's he doing?
Joe Hardwick. No. Maybe someone will call in here in a few
Randy,
minutes,
you
Bullet. You know where Joe Hardwick is?
Joe Hardwick's living in Atlanta, Georgia right now.
There you go.
Wow.
I seen him during the Cleveland Bradley football game.
I actually saw Randy over at one of them Cleveland games. I didn't even recognize him. I think he had a beard.
Yeah, I just got better looking in my older age.
Yeah. And, anyway, guys, I appreciate you, and I'll be listening to you today.
What did you think about that Cleveland ball game last night?
Hey, man, that was something else. I'll tell you what. I didn't get to go, but I listened to it on the radio, and I think their defense played the greatest game myself. And we just got to win two more to get to the what is
You
it?
got to go win 3 more.
3 more.
3 more, yeah.
Well, I hope they do. And anyway,
Bullet, one of the people on this list I'm looking for, and I think I'd already shared this with you, is kin to you, and that's Ronnie Hinkle. And
he's my cousin.
And I know they just lost their mom this week, but the leaders of this reunion don't have his number yet. So if you run into him while they're looking for him, and if not, I'll get his sister at the cab company, or maybe they'll call in.
I think I know where he's living now, and I'll try to find him today. And if I do, I'll just give him your number and call you.
Okay, all right. And if you don't get it today, just get hold of me, and I'll get it to Jerry.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Bullet.
We'll see.
All right, bye-bye. So, there's people like that, just where are they now? And another one that when I was at Oak Grove Elementary School, there was this young teacher started, and he taught art, and his name was Roger Rowe. And we got a call here. Guys, we don't ring anymore. We got a flashing light. So you got to look for the flash.
Well, I never know when the phone's ringing.
Good morning. You live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doug.
Hey, Doug. What's up, buddy?
Well, Debbie, you got 4 of my favorite people in there.
Well,
I feel outnumbered.
Wait a minute. There are 5 of us in here. Which of the 4 is it?
Debbie makes a 5th, doesn't she?
Yeah,
I'm the
okay.
5th.
All right. So
4
Of course, I'm included in his
you were
favorites.
number 1. I know.
I'm
Debbie. All right. Go ahead, Doug.
Well, I'm going to give out some names, and I want somebody to write them down because I'm going to hang up and listen to the answers.
We're going for it.
Joanne Bennett, Michelle Phillips,
Wait a minute. Okay.
Michelle Phillips, Andy Bivens, and let's see, let me throw in one more, Bud Holmes. I'm going to hang up and be listening.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Doug.
Glenn Bennett. Does anybody know where Glenn Bennett is?
Well, I think he said Joanne Bennett.
Oh, is that what he said?
And
Yeah.
Joanne was y'all know I lost a little brother when he was 5 years old. He was a student at Taylor School, and his kindergarten teacher was Joanne Bennett, and he, along with many, many other young men, were in love with her. And Joanne married Jerry Lyles. And I think I don't know if they still live over here on Harrison Pike, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but I think Joanne is but they live less than a mile from where we're sitting. And then he asked about Michelle Phillips, and her last name is Holloway now. She lives in Knoxville. Randy may know more about Michelle than I do.
She's teaching school, married to Rusty Holloway.
Okay. Andy Bivens is married to Skidmore. She worked at Cleveland High School for a long time. Do you all have contact with Andy?
No.
But she stayed right here, and I never see Bud anymore.
Bud Holmes still here in Cleveland. He lives right off of Bell Road.
Is he still building those cars and motorcycles? And
If he's breathing.
Oh, yeah, he's breathing.
If he's breathing, he is.
If he's breathing, he's building motors.
He is a car man.
No, he had a younger brother who's my age, but I can't think of his name now. I ran around with him in my
Bud
mind.
did?
Bud has a younger brother,
I
yeah.
don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know.
Yep.
I didn't ever know that.
Yep. I went to school with him, yeah.
He had a brother named Jerry that passed away, right?
Jerry was older.
Well, but no, I don't know. Well, maybe his last name was Holmes, and they lived in the same house. I assumed he was the brother outside.
Probably what?
Maybe been a cousin. All right, yeah. Bud built some of those great cars. You'd see a casket coming down the road and a skull coming down the road, and he'd chop the cars. And he was definitely an artist when it come to cars. Had them several in national magazines, didn't he, Randy?
Yeah.
He,
And believe it or not, Bud was a Vietnam veteran.
yes.
Was he? Mm-hmm. What about Mr. Wright from Ocoee Middle School? Somebody was asking about him.
Ronnie Wright?
I don't know his first name.
Ronnie taught at Ocoee Middle, and he still lives here. His wife, Phyllis, taught at Bradley High.
He's at Logan's all the time.
That's
where
where
I
we
know
see
him
him.
at.
We see
They're
him at
both
Logan's
retired.
or at Gondoliers.
Ronnie was a big trout fisherman, and he does some of that now that he's retired. And he and Phyllis do some Christian counseling through their church, and I don't know what else they're involved in, but I also see them regularly. They're still here.
He all the kids really liked him. My son had him at Ocoee Middle and just thought the world of him.
Didn't he grow up on?
Get a little closer there, Charlie. Don't be afraid of it.
9th Street. Is that
I don't know where Ronnie grew up. I think so. Now Phyllis,
he had an older brother that owned the service station, and he passed away. Is that the same family?
probably Phyllis grew up down off South Ocoee Street on 15th Street.
And somebody online wanted to know about David Lewis.
David Lewis passed away, I'm going to guess, 8 or 10 years ago.
Was he at Ocoee Middle?
He coached my son for years,
Yeah.
coached basketball and
Right.
track, and what a guy. In fact, he was coaching at Walker Valley when he passed away, but my son was a pallbearer at David's funeral. And
Didn't in that street beside Brady, that old by the auditorium was
Sure
David
did.
Lewis
Yeah,
Street or
I-
Avenue
you're
or something
right.
like
that's
that?
correct.
I think that he was so dependable, and he didn't show up at work one day, and they went to check on him, and he had passed. And
Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Well, good morning. Good morning. This is Edna.
Hey, Edna.
Yes, I wanted to tell you that gentleman that Bud Holmes' brother is named Larry. He died. There were 8 of those kids out there. Because my stepmother lived out in there. She knew all those Holmeses. So he had a younger brother named Larry, but he died.
do you remember Bud growing up when he was growing up, Miss Edna?
No, I didn't live out there.
Okay,
Yeah,
I would thought he would have been one of those kids that put together a car out of a orange crate or something.
No, my younger brother could tell you, but he's not here.
Now, you grew up over next to the woolen mills. Is that where you grew up?
I grew up across the street from the Hardwick Stove Foundry down 4th Street.
Who all lived in your neighborhood?
Oh, jeepers. They're all gone. Bessie somebody, and Painters. They lived next door. And,
Do you remember the Dalzells?
I didn't hear you.
Do you remember a Dalzell family?
No.
They lived on that. They lived on 3rd Street, I guess.
Okay, they lived over behind us on 3rd Street. Because there was only 3 houses on that street where I lived.
Okay.
Now, my dad lived over there, Jay Lake in William.
Oh, they're across the road, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
My grandmother was Lissy.
I know. She washed my hair one time in Austin soap.
Yep, she would have done that.
Family. Just my grandfather took care of us. Oh, Miss Moore, I've been meaning to ask you about her. Jay Lake and
Sweet William.
Sweet William. He and my brother, I had a handicapped brother, practically in the same shape. And when we moved there, my granddaddy, there's only 3 of us. He's taking care of us. And Miss Moore, I'll never forget her. Okay, now I wanted to ask you about another.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm trying to. She married a Moore. She was a bandy. Beautiful long hair. She married one of the Moore boys. Is any of them older than you?
No,
That's not ringing a bell to me.
No, I'm the only male from Jay Lake, and then all my cousins. I don't know if they married Bandy. They divorced them and married 4 or 5 other people.
She's Opal Bandy.
Opal
I don't know that name. No, I'll look. We'll look and check.
Yeah, because they lived across the street from my aunt over in Gum Holler, 4th Street.
Miss Edna, what was your maiden name?
Falls, Falls.
Falls.
Kin to Tommy and Jerry or any of those?
Oh gosh, yeah, they're all. My daddy had fathers 12 children, 6 by my mother. My mother died when I was 4, and then he got remarried, had 6 children. Oh, yeah. Tommy, Bill. I named Bill
They lived on Church Street, didn't they?
at one time.
And that was before cable TV.
Well, I remember a Mrs. Bean living on Church Street.
See, I don't know anything about that. I was living in Florida at the time.
Oh, okay.
Back and forth. Yeah, I left here and come back, and left here and come back. So, but I just wanted to tell you, Larry Holmes.
Larry Holmes. Thank you so
Miss
much.
Edna.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
But,
I would.
okay, I listen all the time.
Bye bye. I love for Miss Edna to call in and talk about she could remember as a little girl seeing them get livestock off the trains and take it to the stockyard.
Oh, well, that was a big deal in South Cleveland. I mean,
She said
once
there
a
were
week-
cowboys. She
Once
said.
a week, there was a huge crowd down on the end of South Church
Now, where was
Street.
the stockyard actually at?
It
Where
was
the-
just north of where Wholesale Supply is,
Mhm.
and south of the enamel plant, and it was a big deal. The Gregg family lived right across the street from it. There was a restaurant there, and
Fresh beef?
It was packed. It was packed.
What was the restaurant? Do you remember?
I don't.
The folks, you're listening to Old Town Cleveland here on Whoop FM 99.9. You can call us here at 614-5553. We're talking about where are they now. So if you're trying to figure out where somebody is, an old teacher, old coworker, waitress that you used to see at any restaurant out there, just give us a call, 614-5553. And in the studio with us today, we got the three amigos, Jerry Frazier, and my mind just went blank, Randy Fox and Charlie McKenzie. I turned around and looked and said, who is that? my mind was going faster than my mouth was there. But thank you guys for coming in. And so far, you guys answered every question anybody's had.
Let me throw out three names off this class of 74 list that I don't know where they are now, and I should. These were three football players. One was Larry Allen, who was a great quarterback, and Mitch Lilly. I know Mitch at one time lived in Mount Juliet, Tennessee.
Went over and played at Vanderbilt.
And there was a third one. I can't. Maybe Donnie Deal. I think Donnie's in town now, but those three they do not know where they are on their list.
Donnie's been on
Some listener
Facebook
might.
here in the last 19th Street. Okay. I know that he was on. He was on Facebook. Get in the microphone.
Ron Hinkle. If you'll call Gilbert Real Estate, they'll give you his number. He does all the work.
Good morning, folks. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yeah, good morning, Ron and Debbie. It's Joe.
Hey,
Hey,
Joe.
Joe, what's
Godfrey.
up, buddy?
Not much. Jerry,
Hey, Joe.
you remember a young teacher down there at Templeton Hill School? I believe she's the third or fourth grade. What was her name? Miss Williams?
I don't know which one you're talking about now, and I had Miss Plank in the third grade, but I don't know it.
She was redheaded.
I don't remember. I remember first grade was Miss Ramsey and Miss Goodner.
Right.
Second was Miss Wiseman and Miss Wattenbarger. Third was Plank, and I can't remember the other one. I didn't have. And you could be talking. Remember Bob Henley's was a seventh grade teacher, and seemed like his wife might have started. I don't remember what her maiden name was, but I don't remember. Joe, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she was a real young teacher.
Maybe somebody will call in and tell us.
Yeah, I hope so, because I believe her name was Miss Williams.
I'm sorry. I wish I could remember her.
Did you have a crush on her, Joe?
No, I just wonder what happened to her. I know all the others probably did, but now.
You know, those teachers, when you was a young boy, some of them just so pretty.
Yeah, well, I had Miss Logan, Kim Logan's mother.
Jimmy's mom was one of the best teachers I ever had. I've told Jimmy that many times. She taught fifth grade.
Right.
And I didn't care much for science. I loved reading and math, but I didn't care much for science. But there was a big oak tree outside the building, and we spent half the year probably studying that tree, and she really turned us on to conservation and science. She was an excellent teacher.
Yeah, speaking of science, I remember where I was at when I was in the 7th grade and President Kennedy got killed. I was in 6th grade science over at Arnold Junior High.
Everybody probably remembers where they were when they heard that news.
I was in the bathroom in the 4th grade. That's when I found out about it. But I was at Mrs. Lee's class at Oak Grove. Randy, you remember where you were?
Yeah, I was at study hall at Bradley.
You were in study hall?
Well, I wasn't studying, but I was in study hall.
Charlie, where were you? Do you remember? Speak up here.
Arnold School.
What grade?
I think it's in the 8th.
5th grade.
63. November
Yes.
22nd. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
22nd.
Well, I felt so many times it was pitiful. Jerry,
Hey,
how old are you now?
65.
65.
I went on Medicare last July the 1st.
Me and you the same age.
Were you able to enroll now? That's the big question.
Well, I got there before the
Okay.
latest fiasco, so hopefully, yes.
And then, like I say, I failed so many times. I just started all over again.
There you go. Start over and try again.
That's
Thank-
what I did on my first million. I messed up on it, so I just started over. I'm working on my second million now.
I heard that. Well, we'll let you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to hear from you, Joe.
Somebody online's asking about Major Don Gardner and Sergeant McCamus and Colonel
ROTC
White,
guys?
the ROTC guys from Bradley.
Major Gardner, what a guy. He started the ROTC program at the old Bradley, and just made it a vital part of the school and just did an awesome job with it. Sergeant McCamus does still live here. He lives on Georgetown Road.
He actually called in one day and talked to us for an extended
I ran
period of
into
time.
him at Ace Hardware, and he's glad to see ROTC back at Bradley. But it was a great program under their leadership. Major Gardner, I think, moved to Kingsport. He had a son that was like a sheriff of the county up there, and he moved up there in his later years. And I don't know whatever happened with him, but Sergeant McCamus is still here. And ROTC is back and seemingly doing well.
Now,
It
Colonel
is-
White would probably
He's gone.
he's probably passed away now, but
Of course, now those people that I thought were ancient weren't all that old when I
and the
yeah.
ROTC program at Bradley was what 20% of the student body was in ROTC, maybe higher at one time.
No,
It was
I
pretty
don't know
big.
how many, but it was very significant, and it was an integral part of the school. I mean,
Probably
they
200, 300 kids.
They were plugged into the athletic program. I mean, they had good relationships with coaches and band people, and the military ball was one of the biggest events of the year. It was quite a program.
Herb Lackey.
Herbert's doing well as far as I know. I don't see him often. I do see him out eating every once in a while. He's retired and farming again full time.
I believe he got some new knees last week.
I understood. Somebody told me that he was getting new knees, and I guess he wore those old ones out working in the strawberry patch with his dad. Now, I remember Herbert's dad. He was probably the most influential member on the county commission for years and years.
Fine family.
Ted Lackey. Good people.
Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
How you doing, Ron?
I'm doing fine, Brett. How are you?
Good.
What's going on?
I was listening in.
Well, good. So, what do you think about all those ball games last night?
Yeah, I was going to say congratulations to Ron Crawford on the big win yesterday.
Yes, that was a big win for Cleveland, and it gets tougher every week now. So, but Cleveland's probably playing their best football of the year.
Yeah. Hey, Ron.
Yes.
I asked him to tell you.
Okay.
I was the employee of the month at school.
That's what I heard. You got a plaque or something, didn't you?
No, it was a certificate.
Oh, okay.
I had my picture on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
I sent it to Dustin.
Well, see, I think, I understand you being the employee down there because, you know, some of those other guys you work with, like Coach Logston and Damon Floyd and Garen and all that bunch, I can see why you were the best employee there.
Yeah. Yeah, I sent it to Dustin. You wanna ask him to let him look at it.
He showed me already.
Yeah.
Sure has.
Are you excited about basketball season, Brett?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a big game next Tuesday at home. It's against Riverdale.
Big team.
And the boys at 7:30.
Now, and congratulations to Brooke Copeland, who is a official signee for Florida.
And Rebecca Ritter too.
Yep. So that's going to be great. Well, thank you, Brett.
Hey, we need a lot of people. We need a lot of people next Tuesday, Ron. A big crowd.
Well, you know, I come watch those basketball games.
A big crowd next Tuesday at home.
All right. All right, thanks, Brett. We'll be there.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Where's Chad Copeland? I know where Brent is. I know where Brian is and all that.
Chad lives in Chattanooga. He comes, sir. I don't know what all Chad's doing. Yes, Chad. He comes quite often to Bradley Athletic events to watch his nephews.
Mm-hmm.
He and his wife Kim. I do see them quite regularly. But he's back in the area after many years in the Jacksonville area.
You know, if you remember football teams, and I know from McMinn County, there's always a Grubbs or an Irvine on the team down there, and a Pankey on the Ray County, and now Bradley has a Copeland on the team. That's sort of a long-standing family there.
We had the Whites and the Scotts, and I don't know, a bunch of families like that. Now, I'll tell you another one. Let's get Randy to tell us where Jimmy Cannon is now. He was probably the best athlete, or one of the best, certainly when we went through Bradley. Jimmy was a stellar athlete, and he and Randy are pretty close.
Jimmy lives out in Texas now, right outside of Dallas. He's a salesman out there for somebody. Back years ago, I done a thing for the banner of the top 10 scorers of all time at Bradley, and I said, everybody, I guarantee you Jimmy Cannon will be the top scorer, but I was wrong. It was Dennis Botts ended up being the top scorer. But if that had the three-point shot back when Jimmy played, that nobody ever called Jimmy, because about everything he shot was three-pointers. Yeah, great athlete.
I'm sure Alvin Scott was towards the top there, too. And, they played before the three-point and no dunking back then, too. You couldn't dunk the basketball. So, Dennis Botts, I was there. Dennis Botts and I grew up at Oak Grove together and went through there, and Dennis was a great basketball player.
Well, you'd be surprised that Dennis ended up being the top scorer, but he's not anymore. But at the time he was.
Well,
he's getting all those inside shots. You just didn't even think of it.
I wouldn't have thought him being the top scorer. I would have thought he would have been – he was always a very dominant
I figured
player.
he'd be in the top 10, but I didn't figure he'd be number one, though.
Yeah,
but he was.
That's interesting. I
always tried to get him to play football. I think he probably would have signed in the Southeastern Conference if he had of, but he was a basketball player and a good one.
He played his freshman year.
Yes.
Yeah, well, he played his freshman year. And, Dennis was a good athlete.
I worked with Dennis when we worked at the sheriff's department and was out riding one night. Dennis said, let me run the siren tonight.
Randy, you've been around law enforcement and then the veterans. Is there any Vietnam veterans from here that we don't know where they are now, or somebody you could tell us that used to be here and's gone? Do you know any of the? I know you know all those guys. Anybody come to mind real quick?
No, not really. Nobody comes to mind right quick.
I always wondered.
Nothing comes to mind.
I always wondered where Andy Shelfer was. He worked at the sheriff's department. I see him on Facebook now. I just wanted to know where he was so I could go the other way.
Oh, well, I see him on Facebook too, but I don't. I figured he's still in Charleston. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know where he is. But Andy and I rode together. We were riding together one night on a Halloween night, and we drove up, and there's a tree been cut down over the road, and so we get out and sort of look at it, and then we hear a chainsaw going. And behind us, they dropped the tree behind us. Now we're trapped on this little road out near the rock quarry. So we had to call the road department. So we just had to sit out there. So somebody got us that night. So I remember that. And you start talking about those old. I ran into Dennis Botts yesterday. He used to work at the sheriff's department, and then we just started talking about
what happened to Dennis Bennett? He used to work there.
Oh, that's what I meant, Dennis Bennett.
Oh, okay.
I said Dennis Botts. Dennis Bennett. He's sitting at the doctor's office yesterday. Had some serious eye problem now, and he works in his wood shop. That's what he does now. So,
well, that wrestler just died here a while back. He used to work down there. Was it Don Green?
Don.
It was Don Green when he wrestled, though, wasn't it?
Don Carson. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're on the internet right now, you'll probably see a picture of a guy with a big hairdo.
That TJ the DJ?
That is TJ.
We've had Tommy Jett at several of the class of '66 reunions that we used to have. He's the best DJ that I ever knew.
He doesn't look like that anymore.
No, he doesn't.
But he still tries to look like that now. Matter of fact,
he can still get the hey nows out.
Well, matter of fact, he done one of those hey nows for us here at Whoop Radio. We actually have a spot, and he comes on and says, on that down beep 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 beep.
But I think his hair is hanging down now, and it's white.
Yeah, and there's none on top, and it's just all on the side. It's hanging down. We went down to a Tommy Jett reunion. Sometimes they have all the old bands, and so we went down there, and and walked in. My son looks and says, "Who's that?" And I said, "Well, that's Tommy Jet." But now, if you were growing up in my era, you know, Jet Fly was the radio station.
Fastest jet in the air.
That's right. I mean, what was it? 1153 or is it AM station? Wasn't it?
1070.
1070
on your radio
It's a gospel
dial.
station now.
Yeah. So that boy, Tommy Jet, Del Anthony, Gene Lovin.
I would turn TJ on just to hear his sign off. He had a sign off that was special.
Wasn't Cowboy on that in that time, Cowboy?
Oh, I don't. Where is Cowboy? Still living up there off Frontage Road?
No, he's living up Calhoun now.
Oh, is he?
His mom-in-law passed away a couple of
George.
years ago, Miss Fry.
George White.
She was really. Where did she teach?
Blythe.
She taught at Blythe, and she was well up in her 90s.
But she knew everything.
I was flipping through this yearbook here and saw an interesting guy named Joey Parker. Joey went to Black Fox, and Jim Barger says he's the brightest student he ever had. Joey is Dr. Parker, and he's taught at the University of Alabama for many, many years now. I don't know how many. But
Boy, it's one of us Black Fox kids.
Another-
So I'm a part-time Black Fox kid. Go ahead, call. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yes, this is Doyle Palmer.
Hey, Doyle.
Listening to your, whatever you call them there, the Amigos or
Three Stooges, Doyle.
Anyway, I've talked with my friend Bill Talley out in Texas, and he's going to try to call y'all in a few minutes.
Well, good, because we've been hunting for his number for about 45 minutes and haven't been able to find it. So we would love for him to call us.
I've just talked with him, and it'll be a little bit so everybody can get their questions ready for Bill.
Oh, sounds
Doyle,
wonderful.
before you go, I know you were an integral character in the lives of hundreds and hundreds of kids, in addition to coaching and teaching them driver education. But I want you to tell the listeners about the guy that pitched the doubleheader over on Ballpark Curve that was ambidextrous.
Oh, no, that story is not fresh with me.
Does that mean you don't remember?
Well, that means that I'm not familiar with that story.
Doyle, was it Stormy Marshall? Does that bring?
Now, Stormy was one of the guys that played over there at the ballpark. I remember seeing some of their games.
Yes.
My dad took me over there when I was pretty young, and I'm not sure we were there the day that happened. I remember another player by the name of Garrett Havens. And,
Yeah.
he was a slugger, and he could hit the ball up in the yard.
Yeah, he married a Bivens.
Lived on Garrett Street. Gary Street.
Yeah.
Yes.
Janice Havens' dad.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was another fella by the name of, I believe his name was Stacy Carlton, that played around in the area, played some games over there. But Stormy was a very prominent figure in the baseball world back then, and he could probably pitch a doubleheader, one way and one the other. I will mention that I had a Dixie Youth player. His name was Mike Johnson. Mike played on my Dodgers in Dixie Youth, and I pitched him a game, and he threw from the left side and the right side in the same game.
That's very exceptional. Mike was a good athlete.
At 12-year-old, he was 12 when he did that.
Well, that's just the story that I remember. I guess maybe you had told Eddie, was that you saw this guy pitch one game left-handed and pitch the next game right-handed, and I've always just been amazed just thinking about that.
Yeah. Well, that would be quite a feat, especially when you get up in the older age group like that, having to go against adults, grown men.
Yeah.
It would be tough. But anyway, I've talked with Bill, and he's going to be calling in a little bit.
Well, good. We'd
Super.
love to talk to him.
Okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's the first time we ever stumped Doyle on a question. I'm going to throw out
just get
5
in there.
names here, and some of you may know, this group of people and why they're together. Their names were Jackie Bryson, Ernie Samples, Ronnie Cox, Mike Davis, and Don Phillips. Do you know why those names would be together?
Played in a band together.
The Orange Blues.
Couldn't remember the name, but I remember playing in a band together.
Go. Ernie Samples.
He was in for our class reunion.
Oh, yeah. Ernie's down in Tampa and runs a recording studio, and he does sound work for television commercials and things like that. And Ernie's called our show several times.
He was sitting all the way across Cracker Barrel and got up and came over and started talking to us. And he and Ron reminisced about all the old pickers in town.
Jackie Bryson's still here in town, and last time I saw him, his health is not as good as it was. He has some back problems. Ronnie Cox, I don't know where Ronnie Cox is anymore. He was the bass player for the Orange Blues. Don Phillips, I have no idea. They were twins, right? Weren't they? You remember?
Who now?
Don Phillips, Don and Ronnie, was it?
Yeah.
They were twins, and I have no idea where they are.
One of them used to live right up here on Highland Avenue, but it's been a while.
Yeah, but I have no idea what they done after he was a great drummer. Mike Davis is
Doyle's.
Huh?
When that Doyle's boy.
No, Kirk Davis. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm related to Mike, and he's in South Carolina. Runs a music store and has taught music and all that. But that was the band I thought was going to be the next rich and famous rock band, and they were good. I had the opportunity to play some shows with Jackie Bryson later on, and so sort of a hero here. Got a call coming here. Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning, Ron.
Well, I'm awake now.
I want to say buenos dias to the three amigos.
Sound like a floozy.
All right, Brenda.
Anyway, Mike Davis was Kurt Davis and my daddy were best friends since school. And, I mean, they were just, everywhere you saw one, you saw the other one. And we vacationed with them every year. And Mike and I got along like a brother and a sister would. We fought all the time. And every time we would go on vacation, I mean, he'd make me mad and I'd get hostile. And I'd really try to hurt him. And so every time he'd keep messing with me, and we'd get in the pool and he'd splash water on me. And
well, it's terrible you get wet when you're in the pool.
He'd splash water in my face, and he'd keep on and keep on. You'd tell him to quit, and he'd keep on. And I held him under one day. I almost killed him. He nearly drowned. But anyway, we were like that all of our childhood. And, of course, we love each other now. We're just like brothers and sisters. But I never, ever, ever would have dreamed in my whole life that Mike would have, when Kurt bought him the guitar that he had, I didn't figure Mike would even ever learn to play it, much less play it professionally. And he's backed up a lot of singers and been on like Charlie Daniels and, I mean, lots of famous people. He's played with them. And he does have a music store, and he got married, and his hair's long, but because he's a musician and all that. But Mike, when he was younger, I wouldn't have expected him to do nothing with his life.
Well, I can tell you when his uncle Jerry Hood. Gerald Hood.
Yeah, I knew Jerry and little Jerry too.
Well, see, that's all my cousins and things there.
Well, no, I didn't know that.
See,
I knew them very well.
Well, Jerry Hood and Sue, Mike's mother, were brother sister, and they're first cousins to my mom.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I know. So I grew up all those too. But Gerald told Sue if he would learn to play guitar, when he got good, he would buy him a Les Paul. And
no, when Sue got ready, let me tell this story. When Sue got ready to buy him a guitar, she just bought him kind of a medium sort of guitar. He wanted a guitar like Gerald had, Gerald Hood had. And she said, well, you learn to play like Gerald, and I'll buy it for you. And about just a few weeks later, Gerald came in and says, you owe that boy a guitar because he can play good.
I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that Michael would have really stuck with it, because he just wasn't that kind of kid. But he found something he liked and he went after it.
Yeah, that's music's been his whole life there. You know, he taught, I forgot where he taught at some college. He taught guitar and stuff, but you know, but the Orange Blues, if you remember them, with Jackie Bryson was their lead singer, and Donnie Phillips and Ernie Sample was a just unbelievable keyboard player.
I know Ernie Samples too.
Yeah, I know all that bunch too.
And I remember when my son started playing guitar, I took him to Jerry Hood's music store. That's the Little Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling him that what I was wanting was one of those things that Lord, mine, stay in there with me. It made like a reverberation sound. I think you stepped on it. It was on the floor. It didn't make your
a wah-wah pedal.
Anyway, I called it something else crazy. I mean, it was way out there what I said. And Jerry just busted out laughing, and I thought, what is wrong with him?
Now, him and Jimmy Degler were partners up there, I believe.
Oh, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne Choplin.
Dwayne Choplin, yeah. Mm-hmm. Another good drummer.
Yeah. Ron just throws out the wrong names to see if you're listening,
That's right.
Brenda.
Jimmy and I were married when he was in business with Dwayne Choplin.
Okay.
And of course they broke up, and somebody stole all the stuff out of the store, and that was a real mess.
Yeah. Little Jerry died down in Dalton, and then Tommy's up in Gatlinburg.
Oh, is he?
He works for Wonderworks.
I wondered where Tommy was at.
The upside down building.
The upside down building in Gatlinburg. Tommy's assistant
We walked
manager
in there and asked for Tommy Hood, and no one knew who that was. And then they all went, "Oh, Tom." And we thought, yeah.
That's like my son. He was Jimmy all of his life. And then one day he decided he was James, and everybody was calling him James. And somebody asked me about James Degler, and I said, no, my son's name's Jimmy. And I mean, he'd been going by that, and I didn't even know it.
Yeah. I thought my name was Get Wood until I was about 6. All right, Brenda, thanks for calling in.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Warnie Fennell. I know she's gone, but let's talk about her. I always liked Teddy Bryson's stories that he was sitting in the office and she came walking through and she was so young and so beautiful. And he said, I'm going to sign up for whatever she's teaching. And that's how he ended up in Latin class where he did not belong.
Warnie made me have 20 heart attacks one day. We were filming a documentary for the ambulance service and to show what would happen if someone was having a heart attack. So I was at her house, and I had to have a heart attack we were doing a scene, and she was a stickler for this acting. So I had to fall down on the floor about 20 times till she got the one I wanted. And the little girl, first time they does it, she calls 911, don't know what to do. Second time, she done a very good job. Well, that's pretty good, but they started showing that to all the schools, and my daughter was like in the 1st or 2nd grade, and she panicked when she saw her daddy having a heart attack on the screen. Doug Mizell, the Duke of Whoop in here. Hey, Duke, how you doing? Good. You're looking good there. So I got another name here for you, too. Oh, what's Warnie Fennell.
Well,
the Dooley family.
She's beautiful, had a beautiful home place out on Wildwood Lake off Spring Place Road, and married to Conrad, who was a noteworthy attorney for many, many years, and had a lovely daughter that I guess she still run the cabins up near Parksville.
It was very instrumental in getting the library started in Polk County, I understand. Yes, she does the Coy Village. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I was up there a couple weeks ago to a wedding up there they had at her place.
Now,
I took Latin with Miss Fennell, and she was easy on the eyes for sure.
I will tell you, Warnie was a very attractive lady, and she was just a hoot to be with, and
bundle of energy.
Yeah,
hyper, I guess.
I had her for some class. I don't remember what it was because I don't think I ever paid any attention up to her, you know. But yeah, she did a good job, and Let's see.
Well, she was inspirational to a lot of kids. Did a lot of volunteer work with Red Cross, March of Dimes, and other
Now,
charities.
is her? Is she the sister to what's it?
Wyman Dooley.
Wyman Dooley. Is that her
And
brother?
then Sue Newman is in that family also.
So Wyman's her brother, right?
Yes.
Okay, they were all from.
All from Conestoga, from the lumber mill
Mhm.
place.
Sure, yeah. So
Hall Chevrolet. Who ran Hall Chevrolet?
Jack Hall.
Well, Jack Hall, and then
Who worked down there? The same guys worked down there for years.
Jack Hall and Jim May
Mr.
were brother-in-law.
Jim was there for 100 years at least, wasn't he, Charlie?
Arnold's
Yeah,
dad. Arnold's dad was
yeah.
a mechanic. Down
Who was the fireman that worked there all the time? He worked at the fire department, then he worked part-time down.
James.
Yeah, that's him.
Frank.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot Arnold's dad worked down there. Sure did. So
Bradley Motors. Before it was Hall Chevrolet.
I think Fred Enscore was a mechanic down there for years and years and years.
That's when
Amy
you knew.
Samples was the secretary down there.
That's when you knew the people that worked at the place that you did business.
Oh, yeah, people didn't buy. They didn't care what brand it was or whatever. If you're going back, this group went to see Jack Hall for their cars. This group went to see Bobby Carter, Preacher Sloan at the Ford place, and they always bought their cars from the same people.
That's something that we found out while we've been working on this dirt track racing thing is that the cars that won on the weekends sold cars on Monday, that people would see the cars at the races, and that one Ford would beat the whole bunch of Chevrolets. Well, then Monday morning, everybody was buying them a Ford.
It used to be the Pontiacs in those early days.
Whatever happened to Floyd Patterson, the old fence buster? Some of you guys are working on that, I know, but
We'll find out. Hey, caller, go ahead. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yes, this is Bernice.
Hey, Bernice.
Hey, Miss Bernice.
How you doing?
We're good.
My husband drove the wrecker for Hall Chevrolet for years.
And what is his name?
Edward Wade.
Edward Wade. We always just call him the Korean veteran.
He is a Korean veteran. Yeah, but he drove the wrecker there from the time it was new till the time he retired.
Did he sell a lot of vegetables this summer?
Yes, he did.
Well, that's good.
Frank James was the man y'all was thinking about.
Frank James, yeah.
Frank James, yeah.
Now, what did Ray Burgess have to do with all that, Miss Bernice?
Ray Burgess done body work. Warren Tarpley was the shop foreman in the body shop. And that's where Ray Burgess worked. That's where Ed, my husband, worked. And he drove the wrecker. When they needed somebody to go out on a wrecker trip, he drove the wrecker. And we appreciate that call and all of them. My husband retired from there.
Somebody's saying Willie Callahan, too.
Willie Callahan, yeah. Yeah, we know Willie Callahan. He's
Arnold's online feeding me names
Oh,
over
well.
here.
okay. I figured he was, but I love you guys.
Love you
thank
too.
Bernice.
Bye-bye.
Oh.
I just remember driving by at night, and that place would be lit up like downtown New York City, and those cars would be out there going round and around.
first
and I
turntable I ever saw with a car
I
on.
loved it.
I want to.
And somebody's saying Gene Bradley also. Bradley. Okay, it's Arnold can't spell. I'm reading what he's spelling.
But
thank you, Arnold.
People ask me all the time where Doug Mizell is. He's not on Whoop all the time, and I can say he's sitting in Whoop. We know where he is now.
I've never heard of him.
And on December 13th, Doug Mizell's going to do Old Town Cleveland. I don't know what he's going to do yet. Have you decided? He's working on it and everything.
He always has something good. He had the big bird show one time. When
Yeah,
he was
and that's the
gone,
one
and
I
the
wanted.
Diggers.
I would have loved to have been here for the bird show because I love that type of stuff. And you brought the diggers in here, so
We don't want to
he
leave
hosted
any.
the last time I was here.
Yeah, we don't want to leave anybody out. Arnold's also mentioning Joe Queen on here.
Joe Queen, right?
You know, and those are the kind of people that when they got a job, they stayed there for decades. And
Well,
I can see pictures. As y'all are mentioning names, I'm seeing images of people in my head. Well, we just
where
mentioned
anybody is. Today is where are they now?
Wait a minute. He knows better than sit over in the corner and talk.
We got a call coming here. Hey, good morning. You live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning, Ron.
Hey,
I have a question.
sure.
Does anybody down there remember the White Angel?
The lady that walked around town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who she is, but I remember walking around town. Yeah.
You remember seeing her?
Yeah.
Well, do you remember?
I can't remember her name, Red, but I understand that she has passed now. Her family lived here in town, and she had come into town to take care of some senior family members, and I believe she's passed now.
Well, what about the Cadillac Queen?
The Cadillac Queen. Don't know which one that is, Red.
She rode around town in a Cadillac all the time.
Cindy Logan?
I don't know, but then there was a guy that walked around with
That's Cindy Almond Logan for all you folks out there.
that guy that walked around town with a briefcase that said he was a lawyer. You remember him?
Bill Brown.
George Westenberg.
George Westenberg. Is that who that was? Charlie said it was George Westenberg.
Okay.
I had a bunch of garbage. I always scared of. You remember?
I can remember a lot of those characters.
There was a lot of those characters.
Yeah, he's looking.
But I just wanted to know if you know who the White Angel was.
I don't know her name, but I sure do remember she just sort of floated down the road as she walked.
Uh-huh. Always dressed in white.
Yeah, white makeup and a white umbrella, and she just sort of angelic as she walked down the road.
Okay, I guess you'll live if you know who she was.
Well, someone will call us in and tell us in a few minutes.
Well, tell me one more thing.
Okay.
I hear it all the time everywhere I go. Who is Randy Fox?
Well, they wrote a song about him. Says, "What does the fox say?"
He's louder than that fox in that song.
I heard that the other day and I went, "That's Randy Fox wrote that song." I think so.
Well, all the time I hear somebody talking about Randy Fox, and I just want to know who he is.
He is one of the leaders of our community, a Vietnam veteran. He has worked at the post office, worked at the sheriff's department, and somewhere at the courthouse. What did you do at the courthouse?
I was administrative assistant for Judge Collins, and then I left Judge Collins and went to be administrative assistant for Ed Lewis, and he got elected road superintendent.
That's who Randy Fox is.
Okay, maybe that's where I know him from.
Well, and then after work, he was at the bar. That's probably where you know him at, Red.
Thanks.
All right, bye-bye. Hey, folks, we got to take a break. We'll be right back here. It's the top of the hour. We'll be back here on Old Town Cleveland. If I can get the right button.
WOOP LP, Cleveland, Tennessee.
Check into cash. Hi, this is Lisa with Check into Cash. We give you more money for your title and guarantee the lowest title loan rate anywhere. Visit checkintocash.com and get a quick estimate on your vehicle. Save more and get more at Check into Cash. Loyal customers have trusted us for 20 years, and you can too. Restrictions apply. Bring proof of lower rate on similar title loan. Visit checkintocash.com for the store nearest you.
Get on down, check into cash.
Wheeler Technologies has moved. Visit them at their new location at 490 Grove Avenue Southwest next to Bradley Rentals. Same great folks, same great service with a better location to serve you. Call Wheeler Technologies for voice, data, and security needs at 664-TECH. That's 664-8324. And remember, depend on Wheeler Technologies for the current time and temperature every day at 476-1111. Tennessee Alarm Contractor C1750.
Sealy Rollback. Come to Mermaid Mattress for a limited time and enjoy extra savings on Sealy Posturepedic and Optimum by Sealy. Sealy has rolled back Optimum prices by $200 per set, Sealy Posturepedic sets by $300. Buy now and
Kiesler Incorporated is in the business of recycling your metal, and they pay cash. The only covered scrapyard around where you can recycle rain or shine. They're located off the bypass on Overhead Bridge Road. Automobiles, appliances, copper, stainless steel, tin, all metals can be recycled at Kiesler, and you can walk away with cash. That's right, they pay cash, and they are the friendliest scrapyard in the Southeast. If you have unwanted metal just laying around, bring it to Kiesler Recycling today and walk away with cash. Kiesler Recycling open Monday through Saturday, 7:30 to 5, or call for more details, 614-3000.
Welcome back to Old Town Cleveland here on Whoop FM 99.9. Or you can go to or you can call us here at 614-5553. I forgot where I am. We've got a caller here, and I think this is somebody we'd all like to talk to again. Good morning, Bill Talley.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Well, tell us where you are now.
What?
Tell us where you are. Where are you living at now? What you're doing?
I live in West Texas, in Odessa, Texas.
How long you been down there?
I've been here since '88.
Well, we've got some people in here. We got Doug Mizell, Jerry Frazier, Randy Fox, and Charlie McKenzie, and I think every one of us in this room remember and have Bill Talley stories.
Oh, well.
And some of them are good, Bill.
Well, those are the lies.
Well, this group here probably. Jerry, you got anything you want to say to Bill?
No, just hello, Coach. Great to talk with you, and hope things are going well for you.
Oh, thank you, Jerry. It's nice. Always nice to talk to you. I don't do it very often, but it's always good.
We talked to him earlier. We talked about you earlier about Coach Sloan taking you to Texas, and you found a woman out there and never came back.
That's right.
That happens to a lot of us, don't it?
Well, I don't know, but it did to me.
Bill, I'm on our Old Town Cleveland Facebook page. We often find old pictures and post them, and I found a picture of you and Doyle Palmer standing there, and I think you were a Cleveland coach and he was a Bradley coach at a baseball game, and you were at the plate there. I don't know if you were arguing or not, but
Doyle and I never did argue. We've been friends forever.
Doyle's a great guy too. Doyle comes on our show quite often and talks about the good old days here in Cleveland, and I don't think we ever stumped Doyle. He's pretty good at stuff.
Yes, he is.
Go ahead, Doug.
Bill, how you doing? This is Doug Mizell.
Oh, Doug, how you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. Great to hear your voice.
Well, thank you. That's what I should tell you.
Bill and I talked a couple of years ago. Alan Jones gave Bill my telephone number, and just out of the blue, Coach called me, and we had a wonderful conversation. I still remember that.
Well, I do too.
Bill, I want to tell you right now that you were the reason that I went to Cleveland High School.
Oh, well.
Back when I was in midget league football, I never won a game against you. I played for Bill Creech's Steelers, and you had the Colts. Yeah, you had the Colts, and I got tired of losing, so I decided to go to Cleveland High School and play for Bill Talley.
You're a lot of the reason why we won when you played on the 9th grade team.
Yes, sir.
You were.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember those days fondly.
Well, I appreciate that, my friend. You started a winning tradition there at Cleveland High School. We that particular class went 32 games before they ever lost a football game.
Well, I wasn't aware it was that many, but I knew it was a lot of games. And
we were aware of it over at Bradley.
Well, I'm not going to talk bad about Bradley. Bradley's my alma mater.
Yeah, it was a good school. We just had a little trouble with football we just had trouble with Cleveland with the problem, and we still do.
When I was a student at Bradley, they were as dominant as Cleveland High was.
Right. What year did you graduate from Bradley?
1961.
61. All right. Back during the Sloan era and all that.
Yes.
Bill, you were a team manager or a trainer or something for the high school team back then, wasn't you?
Yes, I was a manager.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bill, tell the folks what you did in Texas after Texas Tech.
Well, I went back to being a high school coach, and I coached at a little school. I think probably about like Charleston. That's the first job. It was right outside of Lubbock. That's where Texas Tech's located. And I stayed there 3 years, and then I went up in the Panhandle close to Amarillo, and I coached the 9th grade there, and we had players there similar to what Cleveland High did when I was the coach there. We had good teams there. And then I became a head coach at a small high school and stayed there 3 years, and enrollment kept shrinking, and they had to
started playing. In Texas, they play 6-man at small schools. But 3 years I was there, it was good. When I went there, they were in the throes of a losing streak. They'd lost about 2.5 years. They hadn't won a game. And the first year I was there, we tied one. And that was like we'd won the state championship. And then the second year I was there, we won 3. And the third year I was there, we won the district championship.
Wow.
So we had, they were able to turn over coaches every year. It was a hard situation, and there wasn't any continuity. When I stayed there, it got a lot better. Not because of me, but because they knew what we'd done the previous year, and they built on that.
Bill, I remember. Bill, my first recollection, where first time I seen you, I signed up for Little League Baseball in 1960, and was around then in those early days. And I know you and Corky Whitlock used to help coach in those Little League teams.
Yes.
What team was it? Did you have Tony Whitener as your pitcher?
No, Tony played for him.
He struck me out. I remember that, and I played in the Southern League and had to bat against Tobe McKenzie.
Everybody had to bat against Tobe.
Well, what Tobe did,
that same sentiment. Tobe was good.
The first pitch Tobe threw over the backstop. The second pitch he threw behind me. Then he struck me out with 3 strikes down the middle because I was too scared to do anything. Tobe and I were neighbors growing up, so he had me nailed. So I remember you and Corky Whitlock going. What team did you manage?
I coached the Giants.
The Giants, that's right. Yeah.
National League team.
All right, that was.
Are you retired now, Bill?
I've been retired since 2000.
Enjoying it, I hope.
I enjoy it. I'm not going back to teaching.
You've had your turn.
I'm not going to do anything anymore that I really don't want to.
Good for you.
Unless the economy gets so bad, I can't make a living.
Well, that could be true then. Bill, do you ever get back to Cleveland?
Not very often. It's a long way out here, and I'm getting old. And I was there a year ago this past May. I spent a couple of days. I went they had the Hall of Fame, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame induction in Nashville. And Bill Emmendorfer got me to come over there and speak, and I went over there and spoke. And while I was that close to Cleveland, I thought, I'm going to go to Cleveland for a few days. And I came for a couple of days and came back.
Now, do you still have a lot of family here?
No. I have 4 or 5 cousins, and that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, of the coaches that you coached with at Cleveland, do you have regular communication with any of those guys?
Yes, I speak with Jim Woodall weekly, and we talk 2 or 3 hours.
I'm sorry.
The days get better as we get older.
Oh yeah, the older you get, the faster you were.
Oh yeah, it's better.
Do you tell the same lies, just tell them better every time?
No, we seem to find something new to lie about.
All right.
Well, I never called them lies, Bill. I called them enhancements.
Embellishment.
Yeah.
No, it was good days at Cleveland High. And it was good days when I was a student at Bradley. And it was very good days. I tell people about things that happen there, my friends here, and we talk about that, and I tell them that's when the lies get big because Woodall knows the truth.
Where was your favorite place to coach all the years that you coached? What did you like the best?
Which school?
Yeah, or school or program. Which one did you really said that's where I like being?
Well, I don't know because I was happy everywhere I was really. In Texas, I'd say the place I liked most is when I coached at Hereford up in the Panhandle. It was a lot like Cleveland. The town was a lot like Cleveland. And Odessa's a big town. It's an oil town, so it's booming now. And we've increased from about 125,000 to Chamber of Commerce recently estimated that we had 175,000 people here now. People have come to work.
Bill, do you speak? Do you speak a lot?
No.
Okay. Well, you've certainly been an inspiration to many, many people here, and quite a motivator. And not only Doug, but I had a little brother that played, and you're always able to get those kids to give everything they had, and that's quite an accomplishment.
Bill Talley was able to get 125% out of me every time I hit the field.
That's equal to about 50% of everybody else.
That's exactly right.
I had to pick on Doug.
Was that Doug said that?
Yes.
I want to tell you a Doug story.
Oh, we want to hear that.
Uh-oh.
It's good in a way.
In a way.
Reflects poorly on me. We were playing when the year he played on the 9th grade team. We had a really good team. We had Robert Ware and Doug and a lot. I can't go over everybody, but all of them were good people and good athletes. And we were playing Dalton, and Dalton was a powerhouse program then. And we were playing in Cleveland High. And we jumped on them about 2 or 3 touchdowns. I don't know what happened. It was poor coaching. And they came back, and they were about to tie the game with about a minute or two to go in the game, and they were on about the 2-yard line. And Doug made 4 straight tackles. Ooh. And when they after 4th down, they were still on the 2-yard line. And I remembered Doug telling me, said, I wasn't scared we was going to lose. I was more scared of you.
That's the truer words were probably never spoken.
Bill Talley was a motivator. I guarantee you.
Very well for me that he was more scared of me than he was winning the game. But it's kind of embarrassing, but I still think it's funny that he told me that.
That's a great story.
I remember that a long time, Doug. That was a long time ago.
Yes, sir, it was. I don't think I could make him tackles today.
Well, Bill, thanks.
Somebody told me that you might be a tackle today.
I'm getting up there. I could make weight for a tackle at least.
He's not a pulling guard. Definitely.
Well, I bet he can guard his dinner plate.
I bet I can.
And he's done a good job of it, Bill. Bill, thank you for calling in here today. We've been wanting to talk to you a long time. If you ever get to Cleveland, you're coming this way, give me a yell, and we'd love to have you on our show.
Okay, I shall do that. And thank y'all for having Doyle call me this morning. He called me a few minutes. He just had a hard time getting through. Y'all have a lot of listeners, a lot of callers.
We sure do, Bill. I mean, it's a busy show. We've been doing it about 5 years now, and every week we have a different topic. We talk about moonshine in one week and where all the old churches are one week, and today we're just talking about where are they now.
And you talk about Duck Dynasty one week, and I'm a big Duck Dynasty.
All right. Well, that's what Doug sort of looks like. He's on Duck Dynasty now. He's got a beard and.
Well, I was born in Southwest Louisiana, so I got ties down there.
I remember my freshman year at Bradley. The only way we got to school was hitchhike. We'd go up by pennies, and we'd always try to get up there in time to catch Bill up there. We get a ride real quick as Bill's up there trying to get a ride.
Yeah, I did a lot of hitchhiking. A lot of people took care of me when I was in Cleveland.
Yeah, they did. We got there in time. It was me and my brother Arthur Fox and James Kempson, Pete Kempson, a few others. If we got up there in time that Bill was there, we know you'd get a ride right fast, and we get a ride right fast. That's the way we got back and forth to school the whole time.
Well, you can't do that anymore. The world's changed.
Oh, no, I'd be scared to do it now.
Bill, on the screen now, if people watch on the internet, I have that picture of Doyle Palmer and you standing at look like a Cleveland Bradley game. I don't know who the umpires are. And when we posted that, people started talking about your first car or a gold Camaro or something. Or
no, it was a green Firebird.
Firebird, that's it, green Firebird.
Cletus Benton outfitted it for you, didn't he, Bill?
No, I don't have to have a car outfitted. Cletus sold it to me.
Yeah.
And I think John England said something about riding in that car with you.
Yeah, I know John.
Yeah, we do too.
I went to school with his brother and sister. And I saw John, I don't know, several years ago when I was old. John's made a big man.
Yeah,
he does well. And, of course, Jim's done great in the restaurant business in Gatlinburg.
Bill?
Sometimes I talk to Jim.
We had John on the show 2 weeks ago, and we had 2 hours of lies.
No. If he did, he learned that from me. He played on the Giants, too.
Yeah.
He learned that from me. He learned, I guess I scared him, too, like I did Doug.
Bill, I heard that Scotty Hanna said rode with you once. She wasn't riding with you no more. Is that true?
Yeah, it's because I pushed him out.
Well, folks, we've been talking to the legendary Bill Talley, and just a legendary name here in Cleveland. Bill, thank you for everything you've done for everybody and all the programs, and you're such an inspiration, and this community loves you.
Well, thank you, and I love the community, and thank y'all for putting up with me when I was there, because I know I wasn't easy to put up with.
Well, Bill, next time you're in town, you come see us.
Okay, I will.
Thank you, sir. That's a treat there, folks.
It was. It truly was. I love talking to Bill
That's great,
Talley.
Doug, that he remembers, he probably didn't tell all the other stories, remember how much he had to kick you to get you afraid of him.
Oh, yeah. When I said he was a motivator, kicking was part of it.
Yeah. He
could hurt you with those nubs.
Oh, buddy. Bill had a way of grabbing your face mask and pulling you down to eye level with him, and then he'd take that whistle, that coach's whistle, and sling it around and hit you upside the helmet, and your ears would ring for a full quarter of football.
Hey, good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hello, Rod.
Hello, Miss Ella. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
Well, one of your old buddies is sitting in here today.
Which one?
Doug Mizell, the Duke of Whoop.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
Hey, Miss Ella, how you?
Hey, what happened to you, man?
What happened to me? I'm still around.
I don't see you anywhere anymore.
Well, I stay clustered. I got people after me. I got to hide.
Well, did you go to the Halloween block party?
No, I didn't make it this year. I was planning to, but the weather got kind of inclement, and I was fearful of the rain. And with my condition, my health the way it is, I can't afford to get out and get exposed and get sick. So I had to stay in that night.
Well, I had fun. Pro Day played at the block party.
Yeah, I heard you dressed out quite good that night.
Yeah. I was the Sea Devil.
Yeah.
That's her Christmas outfit also. She's just going to put a bow on it.
There you go.
And I went to Pokey's last night.
You did?
Pro Day played there last night.
Uh-huh.
How many beers you drank last night?
2.
When I worked in police department, that's what everybody says. How many beers you had? And they said 2. No one's hadn't had more than 2 beers.
I hardly ever drink more than 2. Sometimes I just drink 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we believe you there.
Well, yeah. Well, they took an X-ray on my chest, and they thought I had a spot on my heart. And I was afraid to go until I heard from the doctor, and he said there was no spot on my heart, so I was free to go.
That's good,
all right. Well, that's good to hear there. Miss Ellie, you have a good day. Stay out of this rain.
Oh, I am. I got to clean my house.
Okay, when you get done there, I'm sure Doug and I and Jerry all need our houses cleaned too.
All right. Hi, Debbie.
She can't hear you. She's shaking her head. She's sitting over here on the side today.
Debbie says hey.
All right.
All right, bye-bye. That was Miss Ella. She's the Queen of Whoop, I guess you call her.
I guess, yeah. We'd have to make her, give her some sort of title.
You want to talk some more about some car people there,
Well,
Doug?
yeah. We started mentioning names like Jim Hall and all those folks. But, man, at one time, we were the used car capital of the world. You guys remember that?
Oh, yes.
And
before 60 Minutes.
You bet.
Before 60
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, before 60 minutes. But we had folks like Cletus Benton, Red Mullinax, and Luther Pullen. Those are names that come to
Luther
mind when we
Pullen.
start talking about
J.T. Hahn, you can't leave.
J.T. Hahn, you're exactly right. What a character old J.T. was.
Don Mullinax also.
And Don, yeah, exactly. We lost Red a months ago, I think, from what I understand.
A couple weeks ago.
Right? Weeks ago, was it? Okay.
Not long.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Renfro. Lawrence Renfro.
Oh, yeah.
Studebaker Kerr.
Yeah, and then Doc German, sold used cars, out on Spring Place.
Yeah.
Right there at the Kyle Lake Road.
I remember meeting J.T. Hahn one day, and he was a character, and he said, "Come here, Doug, I want to show you something." And he brought me back to a back part of the lot, and we went into a garage there, and there was a Cadillac back there. And it was one of those traditional 4-door Cadillacs, and he'd welded 2 doors together, and made it a coupe instead of a sedan. And he said, "This one's going to Elvis." And sure enough, it did go to Elvis. So, well, I was just enthralled and just JT had a way of just overwhelming you when you met him and talked with him.
Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. My name is Larry Watts. I live in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm here in Cleveland visiting my mother, and I just heard you talking to my old friend Bill Talley.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
And I wondered if he was still on the line or he's...
No, he's gone off the line now, and I don't know if he's actually listening to us in Texas or not, but he's it was a treat to get him to call in today.
Were you one of the many folks that Bill touched their lives?
Bill lived a block from me when we were kids.
Uh-huh.
And we went to Arnold School together and Bradley High School together, and I was the equipment manager with him on the Bradley Bears football team.
Oh, wow. Wow, I bet you got some stories then.
Larry, aren't you related to Hoyle?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. This is Jerry Frazier. I remember you very well.
Yeah. Billy was one of the toughest runners you ever tried to tackle in your life. He was strong and had a great determination. And we played a lot of football out in the yard.
Yeah.
Amazing person.
Yeah, he truly was.
And I was thrilled to hear it. I was just thinking the other day, wondering what had ever happened to him. I live in South Carolina. I don't know what's going on much with the people here, so it was great to hear it.
Well, now, when you get back to South Carolina, you can go to www.whoopfm.com, and every Saturday morning from 10 to 12, we talk about Cleveland.
All right, then. Well, I didn't...
Larry, who are some other players that you remember from Bradley when you were on the staff there?
Oh, well, they had fantastic. I think 9 of the 11 starters got college scholarships.
How many of them can you name?
Well, all of them. There was Gary Kelly, and
he was a center.
Rex Dockery was a guard, and then Billy Bug White and Charlie Snyder were the tackles.
Right.
And
other guard was Bill Mull.
Bill Mull sat behind me in English class one year. I made an A, he made a B, and Earl West sat behind him. He made a C.
So you just passed a little knowledge on back.
You're glad to get there early.
Who was the teacher of that class?
Miss Ammons.
Okay.
Miss Ammons. That's what you call trickle down, I think.
Yeah, you got it. I like
That's
it.
So, yeah, and then Ernest Stroke was a halfback, and William Centers was a halfback, and Louis Alford graduated from quarterback to fullback because Steve Sloan was the quarterback.
Right.
And I think
was Buddy Rogers the tight end?
Yes, Ronnie and Donnie Osmond, my cousins, were twins, and Donnie played some line, some guard. They were twins, but he was a little bit bigger than Ronnie.
Yeah.
I imagine wasn't Andy Ballinger and Bob Johnson were probably freshmen?
Darnell Baggett was on that team also.
Boy, Darnell Baggett. Boy, there's a name I hadn't heard in a long time.
Yeah, he was.
Were Bug White and Rex Dockery as crazy as everybody says they were?
They were, but they were insane. Bug White turned over in his car coming to school one day and never left it. I reckon he went up on a bank, rolled over, came back on the wheels, and got it in first gear and kept on coming.
Larry Randy Fox. Just want to say hello. Long time no see, buddy.
Yeah, I think your dad built you boys a go-kart. Is that right? Is this another Fox?
No, we lived right down from the YMCA. That's where we got to know you after a while all the time.
Yeah, your dad built you boys a go-kart with a gasoline engine and had a body on it and everything. I'm sure that was you.
No, we rode one in the neighborhood all the time, but it wasn't ours.
They stole it.
I don't know. Maybe y'all told me your dad built it. I don't know. I tell people a story that they don't believe about the high school football team. by virtue of Cletus Benton's connections with Hertz Rent-A-Car in Florida, that the town made up money and sent us to the Orange Bowl game.
Yeah.
Sent the whole team, and when we got there, they assigned us to a car, and they were teenage boys in Miami, Florida, and had a teenage boy driving a brand new Chevrolet convertible with 4 or 5 other teenage boys in there with him. They turned us loose in Miami, Florida, in those brand new Chevrolet convertibles.
That wouldn't happen today.
No, it's not. And we had a wonderful time. Georgia played Missouri, and we saw Fran Tarkington was a quarterback, and so I don't remember his name. He was a punter. He went on and punted for Detroit for years. He was on the Georgia team. And we sat up on the nosebleed row of the Orange Bowl, which is gone now.
Right.
And had a wonderful time on that trip. But yeah, Prince Riggs was the other equipment manager. Well, Billy and Prince and me, and we washed them clothes and got those. Boy, Prince, he got the tape.
He's the trainer, huh?
Yeah, he got to be more elite than Rich. Yeah, that was quite a. Billy Frank Smith was a coach. He was quite a disciplinarian. He probably couldn't coach today because of his methods, conditioning, strenuous conditioning.
Well, you had Bill Walker, maybe Bob Davis. Were they also coaches?
Yeah, Coach Hensley was the line coach. Yeah, and but there was no team in better shape.
I don't know that there's ever been a better football team than that one in Bradley. I've watched them for a long, long time, and they certainly was. If that's not the best one, it ranks right at the top.
I followed them religiously back during those 60s era. I agree with you. I don't think there was a better team around.
Well, William Centers was, I guess he was over 6 foot tall and fast and strong, and Ernest Stroke was incredibly fast.
Now, did William have a brother, Gilbert?
Guilford.
Yeah, he was smaller than.
He was fast too, though.
I think he was a 6-year senior in my freshman year.
I imagine William Centers' number on the football team was 24.
Oh, was it? Good.
Yeah, that was. And then Milton Pullen was a running back later on I think our senior year. The great team was a junior. I was a junior.
Right.
And then had a pretty good team as senior. We finally managed to beat Chattanooga Central, which was almost impossible.
Yeah, the Purple Pounders.
Red Edder and the Purple Pounders.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, that was. The story is that they recruited through combustion engineering. That if they saw a good player in Alabama, Georgia, Southeast Tennessee that they wanted, then his daddy or mom got a job at combustion engineering, and they went to Central. I don't know how true that is, but that's a story that was repeated many times to us.
Well, that's a pretty good farm program right there.
Yeah.
Well, hey, what are you doing in South Carolina now? Are you retired or?
To make a short story long, I was watching TV in Knoxville, Tennessee, and the ad came on about this thing called Monster.com. So I put my resume on there, and the next thing I know, I'm working for General Electric in Greenville, South Carolina.
Man.
Wow, all right.
Make gas turbines, which produce TVA probably owns 40 General Electric gas turbines.
Larry, are you any kin to Kathy Blocker?
Kathy Blocker's my very intelligent cousin. Yes, she's through my father's side of the family. You know Kathy?
Yes, nor well.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person.
And your mom lives on behind the Rebel.
Yeah, we live.
Three houses.
We have the golf course in our backyard.
Right. Used to.
Oh, wait. We decided we'd destroy a classic Darwin Ross golf course and put up a high school.
That's what we did. Well,
did you live at one time behind the post office uptown?
Yeah.
I thought you in those apartments there.
Yeah, and then Billy lived down. I think I don't know. It might be some kind of office building where his house was.
Yeah, I remember those. Remember that from the days of the Y.
Oh yeah, yeah. We grew up in the Y.
Oh yeah, I was raised at the Y.
I was trying to think. Agnes, was that the lady's name?
Yeah, yep. She's still around.
No.
Somebody says about Hoyt Clark. Hoyt Watts.
Pardon me?
Go ahead, Charlie.
They want to know if you was Hoyle's brother.
That's correct. Hoyle was my brother. Yeah.
I think everybody around here knew Hoyle from the Benefit Election Commission.
Yes, he was election commission. Yeah, he really worked hard on that. He wanted it to be the best.
Yeah, me and him had a lot of battles. Since I'm a Republican, he was a Democrat. We had a lot of battles at times.
He's a good man there then.
Yeah. I went with him one time to the election commission meeting, and my brother was a wonderful person, but he had a quick temper, and he could back it up.
Oh yeah.
And I was astounded at his restraint one night when one of the Republican members, there had been some discussion about people who had passed away and their name was still on the voting register, and this.
I call them loyal voters.
I call them Democrats.
His other member said, he said, "Well, I'm a Republican. I'm proud of it, and I've always maintained that a Republican would get up off his sick bed to vote." He says, "But by God, you Democrats are raised come up out of the grave."
That's true.
Once a Democrat, always a Democrat. Hey, thanks for calling in, and anytime you're around, give us a call back.
Well, I'll tune in to you from South Carolina on the internet, and thanks for putting up with me.
Hey, thank you so much. Bye-bye now. That was a good call there.
It was, and generated by, of course, Bill Talley calling in.
That brings back a whole lot of old memories from the YMCA when
Doesn't
Larry
it?
was living over there.
Doesn't it, though? Doesn't it?
Yeah. We talk about old things. We got to talk about Neil Dover.
Oh man, yeah.
Now you have to be a late night person to ever see Neil Dover. He's just never seen during the day. And we got another call here. Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning, Ron.
Hey.
It's T. Bandy.
Hey, T. Bandy.
I got a fish truck coming next Friday.
All right. What time?
October the 22nd at 11 o'clock.
October, you late, T. You might have been making November.
Yeah, November. I'm sitting there looking at the paper.
And now tell, for the people who are first listening about your fish truck, tell us where it is coming to.
Bradley Farmers Co-op, or Southeastern Co-op now.
And so if you need fish for your ponds or lakes, this is where to get them, right? They'll have bags and containers to carry them home in, right?
That's right.
And now, if do they need to pre-order?
They don't have to. No, not this time, because it's going to be late. Just come on down, and they'll sell you some fish.
Do y'all sell that to Captain D's, too?
I don't know. No, you're talking about people who hadn't seen in a long time. I was out there at Senior Citizens Singing Thursday, and Dewey Hale that used to work with me at the jail.
Yeah, I remember Dewey.
He come out.
Diesel. That's what we called him over there.
I don't know. I didn't recognize him. He gained weight. He come up on the stage where I was at, him. And then another fellow was Jim Wagner. I hadn't seen him in a long time, so.
I don't know Jim. Who is Jim Wagner? Or is Jim Wagner?
He's just a boy to run around with when I was young. His uncle drove a milk truck. And that Billy Talley, getting back to him, I had a Billy Talley that played the electric guitar for me about 5 years ago.
Don't shake your head, it could have been.
And he was a ball coach too, but
probably not the same guy.
No, it's not the same one. I think he moved to Atlanta.
Bill's down in Texas there.
Yeah, I was waiting on him to say that he used to play the guitar. Now, I got a Mizell that lives up here next door to me, too. Is Doug any kin to him?
What Mizell is it?
Joe Mizell.
Joe Mizell?
Yeah, he used to be.
We're probably kin, but he's not direct kin to us.
He was a pastor over at Jerusalem Acres.
Right. We're probably distantly kin. From what I've been told by Vinegar Ben Mizell, the old Major League Baseball player, that all Mizells are kindred. Right. But
yeah, that's he's a good neighbor.
Yeah, my people in town here are Jim Mizell and John Mizell, and Diane Webb is a sister of mine, and Becky Gregory is a sister of mine.
Joe's been up here about 8 years, I think.
Mm-hmm. And Jerry Mizell was my oldest brother. He was out at Bowaters for many years.
We had got a question here for you. One of the panel here said, "Is this Danny Rutledge's brother?" Are you Danny Rutledge's brother?
Danny Rutledge. I rode a lot with Danny.
Yeah. So where is Danny now?
I've not seen him in a while.
He hangs out at Howard Thompson's flea market all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fish truck next Saturday down at the Farmers Co-op. Huh?
Friday.
In November.
Yeah, in November, not October.
We'll all get it straight here. All right, thank you, T.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
There's been anybody before we go on there, the Charleston Calhoun Hiawassee Historical Society, the longest name of any organization in the world, but the Charleston Calhoun Hiawassee Historical Society tomorrow. Laura, this is up at their new Heritage Center in Charleston. Laura Spain will be talking about Charleston and Calhoun, and using a lot of the references out of a book called Confederate Voices, written by...
I've heard that.
Yeah, Debbie Moore there. We got a call here. Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
What do you say, Ron and Debbie? How you doing?
Goodness gracious, where's Bubba Cry?
Who have you got on the program with you today?
We got Doug Mizell, Jerry Frazier, Randy Fox, and Charlie McKenzie.
Oh, the doggone. I tell you, you had to really pay some bucks to get them in there all together.
Oh, he's scraping the bottom of the barrel.
No, Doug, Bubba, it's the other way around. They all paid $250 to get in the door. Yeah. So I've got about $10. I can go to McDonald's.
Yeah, I tell you what, your reputation's done gone downhill. Things are gonna cost you a whole lot more.
You know what? I never had a I had a reputation. That's my problem.
Oh gosh, my computer doesn't work, so that's why I had to ask who's there. It's somehow the connection won't get going today. So anyway, tell me, I thought I'd call in a little bit later in the show so I could answer all those questions that were puzzling to Randy and Charlie and Jerry. That I could fill them in where those people are.
Well, we've had about 8 calls this morning. Said, "Where's Bubba Cry?" And Randy said, "I don't know."
Tell us how many of your friends live over there in the Charlotte area from here.
Well, let's see. There was one guy I heard mentioned one day that was actually killed in Charlotte that went to Cleveland High School. Kurt Floyd, remember him?
I do.
Charlie does.
Class 67, Cleveland.
Yeah.
Married Sheila Johnson.
I talked to him one time, and doggone it, he didn't make the news one night. Somebody broke into his business, and he was in there. But anyway, let's see. Who else lives around there? Mary Mangus lives in Piedmont, South Carolina.
Well, we just got through talking to Larry Watts. He called in, lives in Greenville, South Carolina.
Is that right? God. Now, there's Dawn Barger, the last I heard, lived in Greenville. Susan Butler and Johnny Gamble live in Inman, South Carolina, which is at Spartanburg. Let's see. And we had a classmate that I didn't know all the time that he lived there, but Mike McCamus, who passed away earlier in the year, lived in Columbia, South Carolina.
Got Larry Bunch in Charlotte.
Yeah, Larry, he lives in Waxhaw. And about 10 miles away. Yeah, Larry lives. The first time I called Ron, Larry and I talked for about 2 hours on the phone after your show.
Imagine that.
Randy said that Larry just listens. What he
Yeah,
said.
Larry didn't talk. He listened for 2 hours.
Oh, I tell you what. Well, let's see. Let me think a little bit.
Carolyn Johnston's still wondering why you didn't call in last week.
Who was it?
Carolyn Johnston.
Well, I forgot all about it, and I was out working too. So
Working. That's a good one.
Well, I've already done more today than Randy I know is going to do for a week.
Yeah, but I've made more today doing nothing you have working, though.
Oh, golly. But anyway, let's see. Who else might live around? Bruce Parton, who used to carry the mail there with Randy, and his daughter lives in Charlotte. She married Bill Markowitz. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
His son? Yeah. They live in Charlotte. There's, Robbie Joe Cry had a sister that lived here at one time.
There's a name from my past, Robbie Joe Cry. He was a character.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Still his character.
Yeah. Well, now, listen, I know you've been talking, but if you've been talking about me, that means you haven't been talking about anybody else and telling stories on them. So I'm glad to hear that nobody else is getting in trouble.
Well, I heard that Lou Cry lived over in Charlotte. He was fixing to get married next year.
Yeah, he was just here, as a matter of fact, and fixing to go do something, and just left, as a matter of fact. The namesake's getting married next July, as a matter of fact.
Bubba, my mind went blank. Judy, it was in Wild River. What?
Judy Harris.
Judy Harris. Boy, I couldn't.
She got arrested over there.
Huh?
She got arrested over there.
Over where?
Charlotte.
She got arrested in Charlotte.
Oh, got a restaurant.
A restaurant. I said, what did Judy do?
Well, she might have got arrested. I don't know. I know in Charlotte.
We're not talking about people who got in jail now.
Okay, well, that's Judy.
She has a restaurant called Eddie's Place. She had 2 locations, one over in Ballantyne, and she has one up in the Cotswold area, and it's still open. She closed the other one, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe she used to keep the books for the guy that owned the restaurant, and then either he was getting out or she decided to buy the restaurant from him and got in the restaurant business. And she and her husband live in Charlotte. I've called her 2 or 3 times.
I bet his name was Eddie, wasn't it?
I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. Oh, I might say this. Charlie knows who I'm talking about, and she graduated, I think, with Janice. Now, Ron, you got to keep in mind, Cleveland, Tennessee is a big place. You'd be surprised how many times I've run into people from Cleveland out in the field. But I'm at church one Sunday morning, and I go into the get a cup of coffee in there in the kitchen and come out and sit down at the table. I'm sitting here, and this couple comes up and says, "You mind if we sit here?" I said, "No, I'm just reading my Sunday school lesson. I hadn't read it, and I know I'll be called on." So anyway, I never got beyond looking and back down my book, and somehow I said something about Cleveland, Tennessee, and it was Sharon Mittal, I think was her name.
Mittal.
Huh?
Yeah, Mittal, and she married No.
And she and her husband are both from Cleveland, and so 3 of us we're the only 3 people sitting at a table a round table, about 10 chairs, and all 3 of us from Cleveland. And I said, "Gosh, I can't believe it." But I see them at church about every Sunday now. But yeah, just a small world. It really is. But I pump gas and run somebody from Cleveland, Tennessee, have a Bradley County, or oh yeah, I have 10 folks there. I know, and most time I know who they are. So it's a small world, needless to say. Now, what all of y'all discussed, Ron? I'm probably getting you off.
Well, we just talked about teachers, and Bill Talley called us today.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Yeah, and then we've had other people just asked about where so is. Do you know so and so? And so far, this panel, I don't think has been stumped once.
I know if that panel doesn't have an answer to a question, they don't live in Cleveland. That's all I can say. They never
No, they'll just lie
Bubba?
about it.
No, yeah, we make it up. We don't know it.
Bubba, you taught at McDonald. Tell us some of the people you taught with, and if you know where they are.
Oh gosh, let's see. The first grade was Mrs. McDaniel, I believe. Maybe she was second. No, I think she was first grade. Second grade was Mrs. Parton, and I don't know. That was her. She wasn't married, so I don't know what her married name might be. I don't know where she is. And Mrs. Ashley, who taught down there for years, she was the third grade. The fourth grade was Buddy Linville, had the fourth and fifth my first year, and then my wife ended up coming there the fourth, fifth whenever he moved to be principal. But anyway, sixth grade was Neil Henry had sixth grade homeroom. I had seventh grade homeroom, and eighth grade homeroom was Mrs. McGee, Ed McGee's wife, and he was the principal for a while there. And then he left, and then Neil Henry became the principal, and then the next year, let's see.
What year did Maggie come down there with you?
I think Margaret Allison came in 72, 73, my second year, I believe. I think I'm right. Or maybe she was hired when Neil came out and she came in then. I bet that was the way it was. I don't exactly remember. But anyway, she was there. And then, let's see. Oh, gosh. Oh, I've run into some of the kids from time to time. And we had a little reunion down there one time and saw several of them that came. I was lucky to get to see them and see some of them on Facebook from time to time. So at a school of about 175 kids, it's amazing how, and of course, I'll tell you this, Ron, let me just tell you, Charlie bugged me for years to go to Tupelo, the furniture market. So finally I said, Charlie, this is your year. We're going to go in January or February, whenever it was. So we load up, leave about 5:30, get down there, and it's an hour change. It's about 10:30 their time. Stay till about 5:30, 6 o'clock, hop in the car and drive back that time. So we're driving back, and I don't remember it. All I know, we're somewhere between Huntsville and South Pittsburgh, and I happened to mention something about one of my kids at McDonald's. And Charlie says, oh, she married so-and-so, and they have 2 kids. Well, anyway, I just started asking about the kids, just took the roll, as many of them as I could remember in my mind, and he was going right down the list, knew where everybody was. I said, golly, dog, I don't need to look them up on Facebook or anything. Charlie already knows.
There you go.
Charlie's full of information.
You better get it before long, because I'm forgetting.
Oh, my. Well, listen, I just wanted to call in that Charlie had told me I'd better, and Randy told me I'd better call in, and Doug Guerin, too, told me because this was the show to be sure and listen to, that I might know somebody that's going to be on the panel today. But
well, the eight calls, 4 of them was maternity suits looking for you. We protected you, though.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. You didn't tell them exactly where I lived, did you?
No, north of Atlanta or something, we told them. Hey, we'll see you, Bubba. Thanks for calling.
Okay, y'all take care.
All right, bye-bye.
See you, Bubba.
Bubba always has a lot of information. What did you say about Bubba there one time?
I said he's got enough mouth for 10 sets of teeth. 5 sets or whatever.
Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Ron, I got one more thing for Jerry. Mr. McIntosh was my 7th grade teacher, Arnold. Does he know if he's still with us or is he passed away?
No, Sam passed away. I had him for mechanical drawing, I think, at Arnold 100 years ago, and he also taught woodworking, and he officiated sports, football.
Mm-hmm. I hear that.
Sam was a good man. He's gone, and his wife actually ran the cafeteria for a long time at Stewart School, and I don't know if she's retired fully or not.
Well, I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Bullet.
What about Mr. Garlock that taught journalism at Bradley High School? Do you remember Mr. Garlock? He was Mrs. Kelly's son-in-law down from Black
Mr.
Rock.
Garlock married Miss Kelly and came here from Pennsylvania, and I think he taught like 2 years here.
He was a military guy. I had him for journalism. I remember him very well.
He moved back to Pennsylvania, and that's the last I knew. He and Doyle used to go on some fishing trips and tell some tall tales.
That big, broad-faced, marine-looking
What I
type
remember
guy.
most about him was the University of Tennessee played Penn State, and Penn State had a couple of tailbacks that were just supposed to be unbelievable, and Larry bet a lot of money with everybody that Penn State would win, and he lost a lot of money.
That teaches him right. Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yeah, this is a guy that used to work for Hoskins a drugstore when I was little.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I worked for Cherokee Grill out there on 64 and everything. But anyway, I was going to ask Ron if he's got another Ron Moore in his family there, cousin or something.
Yes. The Ron Moore that was a city policeman, we go back, we're not close relatives, but I think our great-great-grandfathers were brothers. But at one time, Ron Moore worked at the county, and I was at the county, and we rode in the same patrol car together at nights, and the drunks would freak out when they look at our name tags and say, "You're Ron Moore, and you're Ron Moore," and they'd say, "I'm seeing double," and just go get in our back seat.
And there were at least a couple more Ronnie Moores.
Yeah, when I went to Bradley, there was 4 Ron Moores at a time. There was myself, then Ronnie Moore, who I went to Oak Grove with, who's Ed Cycles, that, and then there was Ronnie Moore, Sammy Moore's son, and another Ron Moore. I don't know where he was tied in, but Mr. Schultz would call Ron Moore to the office, and all 4 of us would show up, and the other 3 would leave.
Well, Ron Moore that I knowed him ever since I was a kid and everything, and I don't know whether he's kin to me or not, but his mama and Nellie Pigall were sisters,
Mm-hmm.
and Alan Pigall was supposed to be my 4th cousin. Now, I don't know whether that was so or not, but I mean, I know Alan Pigall and Jimmy Pigall and them. And I think he was out west somewhere.
Does the fellow y'all worked at the courthouse or for the city, Ed or something like that? You remember that?
I knew Nellie when I was a kid. She passed away.
Yeah.
Just a few years after that or something. But Alan, he was supposed to be my 4th cousin or whatever, and I just talked to Ron, the other Ron Moore, a few days ago over at Walmart. We was trying to get all together somewhere and we can have kind of a reunion of the people we knew. Some's passed away, some moved off and everything, but anybody in the 50s and the 60s, early 60s that knew us growing up and everything, they just give me a call. I give them my number and everything, but you want to get my number and let them.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's 599-5112.
559-5112, right?
Yeah, 599-5112.
All right.
I just want to say, too, that Andy Ballinger, he played baseball when I played for the Pelicans. The Pagels, they call them.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in an older class than me. I'm 65, and I guess he's just a few years older than me. He played in the upper class there and everything. You remember the Pelicans?
Yeah, the Pels from the Southern League?
Yeah.
I've still got my jacket. It doesn't fit anymore. I played for the Pels also later on after you.
Had that old cotton uniform and everything, just burned you up and everything. But, yeah, we played the Travelers, Chicks, and all of them.
Yeah, I was a chick.
Oh, were you too? The Crackers?
Yeah, I remember them.
The Barons and
Yeah, Barons. Well, I remember that. Wasn't that Billy Talley? Wasn't he? Didn't he have maybe arms was missing or something?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, seemed like I remember him up there at that time.
Yeah. Most amazing man I ever seen, I think.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a list of all the Division I athletes that Bill Talley coached? I'd like to know
Yeah,
that.
a lot of them.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling.
Well, all right. We'll talk to you fellas later.
All right. Thank you so much. And hey, call in anytime.
All right, then.
All right, bye-bye. One more name, folks. It's time to go. Rainbow DeFord. Anybody remember Rainbow?
I'm sure everybody remembered him.
Mm-hmm.
If you're up around the courthouse, anywhere, you had to remember him. He was always around.
And, selling pencils?
No, that's Jesse Shaw.
That was Jesse Shaw.
What about Bones?
Walter McMahon.
Yeah, Walter
Bones.
McMahon,
Bones,
right, yeah.
He's
passed away. Yeah, Walter's
he's
passed
gone.
away, and I remember when somebody attacked Bones, and I think every policeman in town went.
Oh, yeah, they cut his throat and everything.
Yeah.
About died.
Yeah.
Wawa Mullinax.
Wawa and his brother Freddie. Yeah, Wawa used to come down to the jail when Robert Lawson sheriff. He said, Wawa Lawson. He said, the greatest sheriff in the world, maybe Tennessee. That's bigger, you know. And what about Don Kerr? Remember Donald Kerr? Don walked around with a broom handle all the time. Everything he was when he was younger. He may have drank a little bit, and I think over the years the policeman beat him so bad, and eventually he'd lost his eyesight and couldn't hear good. And Don talked to the thing, but he was blind and asked me to help him vote one time. And I'll never forget this. We went over to Blythe Avenue Schools. I took him in over there, and I says, "All right, here's the list." And he turned around, and Don, of course, had to speak loud to make sure he heard himself. He just turned around and looked at me real loud and hollered, "Vote for the Democrats!" I said, "Well, now here's this next race."
No problem, was it?
I said, but now I was being honest. I said, "All right, the next race is so and so and so. So vote for the Democrat." And we're sitting over there, and everybody in the place is looking at me, and I'm going, "I'm loving this." So I must admit, Don's entire ballot, he voted for the Democrats, and I had witnesses. He said vote for the. He didn't know who they were,
Did he
but
live out Spring Place?
no, he lived somewhere over around back where all the Paynes lived, back over in there, and that ran around with I can't think of all the Payne boys over there, but I have an aunt was a Payne that come from over on what's that street back over there, Lowry back in there, yeah.
Now, Debbie said you was a pain every now and then too.
Quite often I'm a pain.
Oh, she says a big pain.
Big pain. Hey guys, thank you. The 2 hours have just flown by here, and it's been great here. And Deb, come in here and tell us about next week's show. Or do you know what next week's show is? This may be a continuation. Yeah, that's right. Maybe a continuation.
We do have Dr. Hood coming up in December, and he's a cultural expert, but a really nice guy from UTC, and he's going to be talking about Appalachian culture, including snake handling and moonshine making and those sort of things. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock at the Heritage Center in Charleston, Laura Spain will be there speaking, and she's very knowledgeable and a good speaker, and she's done a lot of research up in Calhoun and uses my book, Confederate Voices, as the reference. So if you enjoyed my book and like to hear someone talk about Calhoun, Tennessee, come out and join them tomorrow at 3.
And we've got a lot of other things coming up in the future, and we're trying to get dates now. We're going to have a guy come who's an expert on underground Chattanooga. If you don't know that Chattanooga got raised up about 20 feet years ago, and so the entrances to a lot of buildings in down Chattanooga are actually the second floor. And so we've got an expert on that coming up, and of course Dr. Hood coming. Wildwood Lake, the people who created the families who have done that, they're going to come in and talk to us. So we all have great stories. And then on December 13th, we're going to the Georgia NASCAR Hall of Fame induction for a racer named Freddie Fryer out of the Chattanooga. Everybody remember Freddie Fryer, and Harold Fryer and Billy and all them. We're going down to his induction and do some video down there. So our great friend, the Duke of Whoop, Doug Mizell, is going to come in and do Old Town Cleveland that morning. And he don't know what the topic it is, but it's always a good one. And the ones I say, I wish I'd been in town to hear that one, and particularly the Bird guys.
Well, we record them shows, so you
that's
can go back and
right.
hear
Yeah,
them.
it's good. Everything. And by the way, if you missed the show or would like to hear it again, because if you didn't believe anything we said the first time, you can see if we say the same thing on tape. This will be out on our YouTube, page about midweek. If you go to Old Town Cleveland's Facebook page, I'll put a link to it, and you can go to that. And we have a lot of people who watch this program over who don't get to see it the first time, and so we really appreciate all those people. And folks, that's it. Anything final? Got anybody want to say? Because their tongues are all worn out.
Arrivederci.
All right. And hey, Randy, we need your help. You're
in bad shape then.
Well, no, really, you'll be help here. We're doing our dirt track racing, and we're about completed all the filming. We'll start doing the editing. It comes out 2014, and then our 2014 released in 2015 is the Old Gospel Quartets of Southeast Tennessee, and you ought to know a few of those.
Jerry's mom used to sing like Vestal Goodman. Now,
well,
she was a great singer.
So people need to start getting their pictures out, old movies and 8mm film and videos and stories, and surely we can get that together, and we will put together, and I'm sure we'll probably mention Jay Basil somewhere along the way.
That'll be the Joyful Noise show, won't it?
The Joyful Noise, that's right. But we're going to do a documentary on that because, and I know here on Sunday mornings on Whoop, it's gospel all day, and they have a lot of those old Southern gospel quartets and bluegrass gospel. So listen on Sunday morning if you like that old Southern gospel. Folks, that's been it for Old Town Cleveland. We'll see you next week here on Whoop FM.
Sealy Rollback. Come to Mermaid Mattress for a limited time and enjoy extra savings